Last week I spoke about Hasan Piker, who is probably one of the biggest Twitch streamers out there. I would not be surprised if you know the guy's name. Um, he is, people online call him a gamer, but Hasan is he used to play some video games. I think he probably still plays some video games on Twitch. That doesn't really matter. Anyway, Hasan Piker is of the left, and I spoke about him a couple of weeks ago because he was detained. He had just gone to Paris to speak at a college out there. He is like I said, he's a big streamer on Twitch. He is of the left politically, and he's very good at what he does. Very educated, very smart, which is why he was able to go to Paris and give a speech at a college out there. On his way back, he was detained by Customs and Border Protection, and he was held for a couple of hours before he was released. Hasan spoke about his detainment and how they were asking him questions on, well, so what do you do on your podcast? What do you do on Twitch? Do you talk about politics? Oh, really? What kind of politics do you talk about? Do you talk about Donald Trump? I mean, these are some fucked up questions to ask a U.S. citizen on their way back into the country. He is Hasan Piker, born in America, a U.S. citizen, coming back into the country, getting accosted and asked some really fucked up questions by ICE. I'm sorry, by Customs and Border Protection. And recently, last week, there was a crazy terrorist who shot two Israeli embassy staffers in front of the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. And there is no other explanation for it than terrorism. It is political terrorism. If you have two ways to commit terrorism, whether it is religious or whether it is political. And this guy released a manifesto, and in his manifesto, he said this is political and it is all about what's going on in Gaza. Now, I do not condone what the guy did. It's fucking horrible. It's fucking awful. These people that he killed, they're completely innocent and they did not deserve this. And this guy is doing nothing but harming the cause. If you are trying to protect Gaza or to help Gazans get out from underneath the boot that they're under and underneath this genocide that Israel is doing, you are not helping. You are fueling these crazies out there, their rage. And I got an example for you right here. There is this guy, his name is, what is his name? Jonathan Greenblatt. He is the head of the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, and he was on CNN the other day, and he had some interesting choice words for Hasan. So let's take a look and see what he had to say.
There is a question if there was any security failure, if this person was on anyone's radar. That I don't think is yet to know unless you've heard anything.
Well,
but what do you have you heard anything?
Well, look, the ADL Center on Extremism monitors extremist groups like the Party of Socialism and Liberation, or PSL, that this man was associated with. He was associated with another, that is an anti-capitalist, anti-Western, and anti-Zionist group which regularly employs anti-Semitic rhetoric.
I just got to stop it right there. He is, anti-capitalist, socialist, communist. They're just catching strays over there. But anyway, he's got a little bit more to say, and he mentions our boy Hasan in this.
So we know PSL. And look, there are extremists on all sides. The fringes seem to be incredibly empowered today.
Both
but
sides.
All of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people.
That is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. What he is doing right there is fucking libel. Absolute libel. I am a regular viewer of Hasan. He has never said anything anti-Semitic. He's never said anything genocidal. The only genocide that's going on is Israel doing what they're doing to Gaza. There's no other way of getting around that. But Hasan Piker is not saying any of this stuff. Honestly, I'm not a litigious person. I usually leave that to the right wing because they love suing people. But what this guy, Greenblatt, is saying is absolute bullshit. And it puts crosshairs on somebody like Hasan, who has freedom of speech. And even if Hasan is saying some awful, terrible shit, it's still freedom of speech, as long as you're not inciting violence. From what I'm hearing here from this guy, Greenblatt, he's almost trying to incite some violence. He is inviting people to, to continue slandering Hasan Piker, for just commenting on what is going on in Gaza at the hands of the IDF with United States weapons. Let's see if he's got anything else even remotely interesting to say.
Jewish state. Like, extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
This both sidesism thing is so fucking frustrating. Back in 2017, they had all of those those protesters. I don't even want to call them protesters because that kind of gives them some credibility in Charlottesville when they were out there with their tiki torches, talking about how the Jews will not replace us. That is anti-Semitic shit. That is straight up scary, blood and soil, Nazi talking points. And they're out there chanting the Jews will not replace us. But for some reason, and by the way, this woman on CNN, no pushback whatsoever. She's just letting this guy spout off on his bullshit ass rhetoric. Not one pushback to what he has to say about this. It is absolutely fucking frustrating that this guy can get on a mainstream news platform and slander somebody else over some absolute bullshit lie. Hasan Piker is pointing out what Israel is doing in Gaza, but that is enough for a Zionist like this guy, Greenblatt, who is a Zionist. By the way, conflation of the two things, that's anti-Semitic. You're basically saying that if you're a Jew living in America, you have loyalty to Israel before you have loyalty to your own country as an American citizen. That right there is inherently anti-Semitic. But Zionists preach that shit. And this guy is an absolute Zionist. And he needs to be, God damn it. I can't believe they let scumbags like this on the news. To add a little bit of insult to injury, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Ken Klippenstein. He's an actual reporter, not a pundit like me or what you normally see on YouTube or Twitch or what have you. He's an actual investigative reporter who people give information to. Ken Klippenstein released the manifesto by that assassin. He is a reporter. It's information that is in the common good for Americans to know his motivations. Mainstream media did not release this. Ken Klippenstein did. As a reporter, that's what you should do. If you're a reporter, you are releasing as much information to the public as you possibly can. As long as it does not impede national defense, that is the job of a reporter. So he released that. Hasan Piker read it on air on Twitch while he was streaming. The guy streams like 12 hours a day. He read the manifesto and, pointed out its flaws and what have you. But by him reading it, you were able to understand where this crazy person was coming from and where he got his crazy ideas from. He did not read it as a way to encourage more people to do it or to praise the guy for writing it. And in the manifesto itself, it said that he was doing this for political reasons and he was doing it about what's going on in Gaza. That was the reason behind the shooting, according to his manifesto. Anyway, Hasan Piker, just for reading that, and by the way, this is not the first manifesto that he's ever read. He read Brendan Ruth. That was the guy in South Carolina that shot 9 people in a church. He read that guy's manifesto. He's read a lot of crazy assassins' manifestos on his Twitch stream. But this was the first time he ever got suspended from Twitch for doing so. So, yet again, cutting into people's free speech. Now, of course, Twitch is privately owned. It's not the government doing it. So there is that. But you have plenty of other Twitch streamers who do not like Hasan. And they went and complained to the manager. And then Twitch gave him a day off of Twitch. So that was his punishment for reading the manifesto. Ken Klippenstein got visited by the FBI. And this is not the first time that Kenny Clips has been visited by the FBI. Last year, he had the dossier on J.D. Vance. I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but he released it on his Substack. He also released it on Twitter. The dossier, the investigation into J.D. Vance. When a party is vetting a potential vice president for Donald Trump, or for any president for that matter, they do a vetting process. They do an investigation, a deep dive into them to see if there's anything that they could, might possibly blow back on them and would make them not a particularly good candidate for vice president. They did that with, John McCain's crazy, I can see Russia from my window. Why am I drawing a blank on her name? Anyway, they had compiled a dossier investigating the, J.D. Vance before they picked him as vice president. And Ken Klippenstein, who's a reporter, got a hold of it somehow and released it on Twitter. He's immediately banned by Elon Musk. Oh, what about free speech? Yes, it's free speech, man. Free speech for everybody except for the people I don't like. I mean, I remember when Elon Musk banned the guy who had an account on Twitter called Elon's Jet, where it just let people know where Elon was flying to, whether or not he was flying in America, flying to China, what have you. And then Elon Musk said, when I buy Twitter, I'm not going to ban him. And then, of course, he fucking banned him. Of course he did. And his excuse was, he's putting out my assassination coordinates. Fuck you, man. Seriously. Charging people $8 a month to get their little blue check mark, but call it free speech. Free speech you got to pay for. And you got to stay on Elon's good side or he'll just kick you off like he did Ken Klippenstein, because he banned Ken Klippenstein for releasing this dossier because he's in the bag for Donald Trump. Elon was in the bag fully and totally. We all saw him dancing around like a dipshit on stage with his little belly sticking out at the bottom of his Dark MAGA shirt. I'm Dark MAGA and I wear a lot of hats. Little Sepp Gorka slipped into my impression of Elon Musk. Sorry about that. But when the FBI visited Ken Klippenstein, he asked him, he was actually very calm about it because this is not the first time. And he's like, where are you guys coming out of? And he lists the city or an FBI field office where the last people that visited him from J.D. Vance was when he released that dossier on J.D. Vance, the FBI came and visited him again. So they came to visit him and they asked him questions about where he got the manifesto from. And it's like, because I'm a journalist, man, I'm not going to, reveal my sources. So, are you detaining me? Are you arresting me? No? Okay. Have a good one. And you just close the door on him. Of course, he was respectful about it, but he answered the questions that they asked him, or the ones that, he felt prudent to answer. But this right here, this whole we believe in free speech nonsense is just that. It is fucking nonsense. When you are detaining podcasters and asking them questions about their political beliefs, when you are going to visit reporters because they release a dossier or a manifesto from a killer that they got, and you're questioning them about their national loyalty. These are not normal questions. This is not normal. What the Trump administration is doing is trying to scare you from speaking up. They're trying to ensure your silence. And this silence is deadly. Donald Trump does not give a good goddamn about your freedom of speech. If you're praising him, he'll let you talk all the livelong day. But if you've got anything to say against him or any of his friends, he will send his boys and his goons after you. So whether it's Kash Patel's FBI or, that Shrek-looking mofo Holmes, the border czar, and his ICE boys, he'll send those after you too. So these are chilling times, folks. I gotta say, this is some really chilling shit. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.